Alright there, geezers, Jules here from FGS, home of the Future Game Show. And you know what? Sometimes, despite my Doritos cool original exterior, I have been known to lose my temper from time to time. Whether it's that sheer instantaneous anger that comes from technology not doing what it's bloody meant to be doing, to people being rude to retail workers, or that hot, prickly feeling that I get when painting the eyes of my Warhammer models only for them to end up looking like they're focusing on a fly at the end of their nose. There are a lot of things that get my blood utterly fizzy. And you know what? This rears its ugly head a lot when it comes to video games, specifically when I come up against a boss that stamps on my soul so much that I feel like I need to open my wallet to pay for such a bespoke service. And so today, together, we're going to work through these points of frustration, kind of like a group therapy session, as I'm Jules. Hi Jules. Hi Jules. Hi Jules. Hi Jules. Hi Jules. Hi Jules. This is FGS, and these are 8 video game bosses that will make your blood boil. And remember, this is the Deep Cut with Jules Gill, baby! So expect to see games you've not heard of, thought about in a while, or just need to know more about. But let's kick things off with number 8, Kakistos, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Chaos Bleeds. Oh boy, we are kicking off this list in style. If style is you crawling behind a couch to weep gently and remove all of the feces that you've just rage-shitted into your pants, because coming up against this boss is just so genuinely unfair, it feels like a personal bloody insult. This, my friends, is the boss who put, please Kakistos, stop, she's already dead, into Kakistos, a foe that you can find in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Chaos Bleeds, and it is without a doubt one of the most infuriating boss battles ever to be put to disc. Now, to put things into perspective, in order to even damage this uber bellend, you need to destroy 3 magic orbs that float around inside the insanely small boss arena. However, it's not simply a case of hitting each orb until it's destroyed, because that would be too easy and possibly fun. And so you actually have to hit each orb once and then start the process another 2 times until they pop. And you do this while fighting Kakistos and an unending wave of zombies. Oh boy, I can actually feel my soul scratching at my veins to get out of my body, because I hate this. And because this is a TV video game adaptation delivered in 2003, you best bloody believe that the camera does not want to play ball at all. Meaning that you'll be there just playing bishy-bashy special with the orbs, only to see a goon flying off screen with a super kick or a magic bolt hit you right in the mush out of nowhere. And of course, Kakistos, being an utter spams these fireballs like nobody's business, and they drain your health so quickly that it's almost comical. Almost, and by that I mean not at all. But when you finally beat the out of Kakistos, it will feel like a hollow victory, as you didn't have a lot of fun going through this gauntlet and likely only got through with a tiny fraction of health left, meaning that it's not exactly the power fantasy that it was meant to be. Cool. Thanks, I hate it. Number 7, Bloody Mary, Terragnigma. Now, you know what's fun, Columbo term for effect? A lot of things, Jules. Get to the bloody point. Okay, I shall. Not this next boss battle, that's for sure. Coming in hot from the almighty and oft-forgotten Terragnigma, Bloody Mary is a boss that really lives up to her name, as she is a tall glass of spiced-up juice that will leave you hammered in short order. Basically, what makes her so tough is the fact, shock horror, that she's actually bloody tough, with your weapons doing around 3 to 5 damage a hit, which when coupled with the fact that her health pool is around 500 means that you'll be wailing away for quite some time. This is made worse by the fact that when she hits you, she almost does so for 5 times the amount of damage, and trust me friend, you are not the beef brick house that she is. But don't worry gang, says the developer coming in like this, oh, I hear that Bloody Mary is pretty weak to magic. Why don't you let her have some of these spells then, chew on that, go goovna. But you know what, game developer, if that is even your real name, why don't you tell them the truth? That yes, she is vulnerable to magic, but it's one of the only bosses in the game where using magic isn't a goddamn option, because magic consumes valuable resources, you're likely to not even have any decent rings or pin at this point in the game, and the magic system itself feels like it's being conveyed to you via shouting to your neighbour across a busy motorway. I do what? I do what? I do what? No, you mate, and you can give my bloody lawnmower back as well. Oh developers, you dangled the carrot right in front of me only to beat beat me with the stick and then shove the carrot up my arse. And speaking of shoving things, it is time for me to shove another call to action down your throats, my friends. Yes, we're breaking the fourth wall a little bit here, and I am begging you, pleading, I'm not going to get onto my knees, I'm in my 30s and I can't get back up again, to please subscribe to the FGS YouTube channel. You get to then be a part of this lovely little family that we're building, and you get to stay notified each and every time we go live with all of our excellent content, which is every single goddamn day. So please subscribe, join the over 160,000 people at the point of recording. Crazy. So let's keep it rolling. Number 6, Devil Z Wangan Midnight. Now, my friends, when it comes to creating a fearsome boss battle that instills dread in the player, design and delivery are key ingredients to that rather heady cocktail. And while most devs will slap a load of horns, massive muscles, and enough teeth to mean that the boss has to go through like 3 rolls of floss each evening, the devs of this deep-cut racing game, Wangan Midnight, well, they went in a rather different direction. They somehow made their final boss, Devil Z, utterly terrifying despite being a bloody car. And they did this by making this the baddest mamma jamma ever to sit on 4 wheels. This monster appears during a race with another driver and sets up the challenge to beat both of them at once. Now, the fact that this car is pulsing with a purple aura, has its own entrance theme that sounds like it's Dracula's gym playlist rotation, and has multiple camera angles showing off its fearsome design really should give you a hint that this isn't going to be like any of the other races in this game. When it comes to the actual racing, it feels like even these warnings weren't enough, as Devil Z races a near perfect line the entire time, and as an extra kicker, is miles faster than your top speed on straights, meaning that even if you do manage to inch your way ahead, as soon as you hit that Wangan line straight, you're going to be utterly dominated over and over again. It genuinely feels like playing against a cheater, as no matter how well you race, those straights, well, they just obliterate any progress that you've made. And soon you'll be cursing the devs for programming such a well-oiled. In fact, actually, the devs realised that Devil Z might actually have been a bit too overpowered, and so they toned him down for every other release that he featured in. Yeah. Number 5, the Ice Boss, Descent 2. Now, sometimes a boss will come along that's not necessarily difficult because of their excessive health pools or damage output, but will be just such a pain in the arse and so annoying to fight that you'll be silently screaming every second that you're battling them. And let me tell you, friends, the Ice Boss from Descent 2 really is the epitome of frustration. Now, the boss's attacks themselves don't actually do a lot of damage, but what they do cause is a rage-induced migraine as they blind the player with a sheet of white light, leaving you utterly clueless as to your location in the boss arena and likely full of holes thanks to the goons that it has flying around now being able to shoot your prone craft. Now, you'll think that you've got a bead on this arsehole and whoops, did I just drive into a paper factory? Did I experience a sudden isolated snowstorm? Is this actually heaven? Oh no, wait. It's a game over screen because the Ice Boss has blinded me and then blindsided me with a ton of lasers. It's rather telling that many Descent 2 pros recommend camping outside of the boss room and using guided missiles to damage it, which, while taking absolutely ages, is much more preferable than spending half the battle walking around absolutely blinded. Number 4, Sajin the Dragon Swordsman, Dungeon Fighter Online. Now, you know when you sometimes come across a boss and it immediately gives away their gimmick thanks to their name, like, say, Iron-Fisted Dan Dumpling or Poison Blade Stabby Daggerton? Well, when it comes to Sajin the Dragon Swordsman from the online multiplayer beat-em-up Dungeon Fighter Online, you get both a sly hint and also a total rug pull at the same time. Now, I know it's confusing, but I say this because the Dragon Swordsman definitely implies power, skill with a blade, and likely that there's going to be some hot heat coming your way. However, while all of this is true of the boss battle, it does leave out one thing. When the game says Dragon Swordsman, it actually means, hey, this guy over here, he comes with 10 fire-breathing pets that attack you constantly with wide area of effect attacks all the time. Now, admittedly, that wouldn't make for quite the same catchy title, but ye gods, this guy is a nightmare to fight. Poised at the top of the Tower of Illusion optional area, Sajin expresses surprise that somebody actually made it this far before cracking his knuckles and then your jaw in short order. This is an an almost comedic beatdown for the player, as you're not only getting roasted by his mates, but sliced apart quickly thanks to the fact that nearly all of his moves incorporate a dash, and he spams them like nothing else, often hitting you immediately after you stand back up, locking you into a death loop. Yay! My favourite type of loop. Plus, on top of this, with all of the moving bodies and fire attacks from his pets, it can be a challenge to see what the hell is going on, meaning that you'll likely die in seconds and then be booted back to the bottom of the challenge tower without learning a single trick on how to defeat him. Wicked. Thank you, I love it. Number 3, Alexia Ashford, Resident Evil Darkside Chronicles. And when it comes to the Resident Evil franchise, there are tons of memorable bosses and sub-boss encounters that will chill you to your core while also being an absolute blast to battle. The showdowns with Nemesis from Resident Evil 3, the outstanding 7 minutes of action heaven against Wesker in Resident Evil 5, and of course, the absolute barnstormer that is Knifey Spoony Extreme against Krauser in the OG Resident Evil 4. These are good boss battles. Alexia Ashford from the truly underrated on-rails resi shooter Darkside Chronicles, however, well my god, I hate this boss battle so bloody much. It's not even that she's difficult, it's just a clunky mishmash of this isn't even my final form, accompanied by awkward quicktime events and laborious segments where you need to shoot all of the hazards before being able to pop her a few times in the mush. Plus on top of it all, and truly the real reason that I'm putting her on this list, does she have to be such a f***ing sassy person during her walk in the first form? I mean, what do you think this is? A bloody runway? What are you modelling? A series of bullets to the side of your dome? It is so agonizingly annoying to see her just wiggle her butt away from you whilst you're desperately unloading your entire arsenal into hers. And that is to say nothing of her final forms, which now include damaging tentacles and a fast-moving flying form, and the need to use the linear launcher to finish the job, which takes time to charge. Now, don't get me wrong, there are parts of this boss battle that are actually great. It's a monstrously queasy feeling slog overall that will have you begging for this battle to be over and for Alexia to just stay the hell down. Please. To be honest though, maybe if I was playing the game with one of these, I would actually feel a lot better. I mean, this is peak gaming controller right here. That's me cutting through the Duke. Take that Xbox. I'll stop now. Number 2, Aragog, Harry Potter Chamber of Secrets Game Boy Color version. And so we now turn to the blocky and bite-sized world of Game Boy games, and more specifically, the Game Boy Color, wherein a certain boss battle would paint the entire handheld device red with all the blood that it likely spilled and the that it boiled. Aragog from the Harry Potter Chamber of Secrets GBC game is an utter nightmare, and way beyond the fact that facing a giant spider with fangs bigger than your student loan debts is about as scary as it bloody gets. Now I say this because it's very possible, thanks to some rather atrocious programming, to get stuck in a stun lock loop thanks to Aragog's poison attacks, which often cause the player to miss a turn. This, coupled with the fact that this massive spider gets the jump on you and attacks first, could spell an unfortunate party wipe in short order. Even if you do survive the initial onslaught, Aragog's high defense and damage will slow the battle to a crawl, and you'll constantly be wasting time trying to cure poison damage on top of all of this. Annoyingly, this is basically a boss that requires you to train in advance in order to defeat it, which, while not being uncommon for RPGs, is a bane here because training is, for lack of a better word, boring as meaning that you'll be totally over the entire experience before coming back to squish this bug. Plus, this being a kids game means that many young players wouldn't even think to do this and then headbutt that poison wall all over again and rage quit forever, and yes, I'm speaking from experience. And number 1, Valgas, Power Stone. Okay friends, I won't lie to you. I'd be hard-pressed to do a list like this without mentioning at least one fighting game boss that caused you to bite your own controller out of frustration, and to be honest, just picking one was a pretty tough feat. I mean, you've got the super obvious ones like your Gills from Street Fighter, your Jinpachis, your bloody Shao Kahns, and even venturing off the beaten path, you've got to just look at games like Neo Geo Battle Coliseum, Kaiser Knuckle, or Castlevania Judgment. I mean, you're positively tripping over examples of developers' hatred towards the player given digital form. Yet today, I want to speak about a game that I feel is fading quickly into the recesses of gaming obscurity, and one that is extremely close to my heart. if only because the final boss punched through my ribcage Kali Ma style. I'm speaking, of course, about Power Stone, the legendary Dreamcast title that kicked all sorts of ass with its ingenious use of 3D fighting arenas and over-the-top power-ups. Yet it wasn't a title afraid to dish out the lumpy gravy, and did so in spectacularly terrifying fashion with the final boss, Valgas. Now, old Shark Boy over here, he sure does look like he loves a scrap, but you know what? He's actually not even interested in you once the battle starts. His actual goal is really simple: get the Power Stones, become an overpowered My Hero Academia character, and then blast you to pieces with homing asteroids and lasers. And as you might expect, this absolutely rinses your health. Therefore, it becomes a race over a straight-up battle, and is one that you'll lose more often than not thanks to his surprising speed and a super annoying body slam that he loves to dole out, which I swear has such annoying collision detection. I swear I'm like about this far away from him and he just goes, nah, in, done, Randy Savage, 1, 2, 3, off. Plus, if you do try and let him catch some of these fists, you'll just simply dodge, counter, and then sprint off to get more stones. Cheers, make me look like an idiot, thanks. It's almost a relief then when Valgas goes into his second and final stage, because while his attack power is boosted and his ice shards now home in on the player, he's a static threat, meaning that if you're mobile enough, you can just race around, grab the stones, and unleash hell right back at him. Still, as an overall boss experience, your journey likely ended a few pages short of the finish, thanks to this absolute unit. And there we go, my friends, those were 8 video game bosses that boiled your blood. I hope that you enjoyed that, and let me know what you thought about it down in the comments section below, as well as any other examples that I missed here. I would love to read them all. Let's share our agony together. And speaking of agony, you can actually speak to me in the meantime on the social medias, which is absolute torture, by going and follow me over here. And you can follow my lovely editor Mark over here on his social medias as well. But before I go, I just want to say one thing. Even though we spoke today about video game bosses that truly and well above beyond recognition annoyed us to the extreme, I want you, my friend, to go out there and live a healthy and happy life. So let go of anger if you are capable of doing so. And remember that it's only with love in your heart that you'll be able to go on and live that good life that I want for you. So just remember, you're a big ledge and you deserve the best, all right? As always, I've been Jules. You have been awesome. Never forget that. I'll speak to you soon. Bye.